Quit arguing with me. Just do it.
Who's going to know?
Huh?
Who's going to know?
Me.
No one will know. Who's going to know? No one will know. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Oh, no, be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From Art to Atoms,
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
I'm Brandon Shoemaker.
And I'm Kermit the Frog. I'm Michael Foles. If you can hear this, call 911. I'm being held against my will.
I hate you. So this week, we are going to be talking about something more along the lines of the metaphysical spectrum of things. Last week, we were discussing, what were we discussing? DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, we're taking
A psychedelic trip into the metaphysical.
in the metaphysical,
Yeah.
into the metaphysical realm of things. And we're talking about something called scalar energy. Now, before we launch into exactly what this entails and what we did with it, the reason we're talking about this week is because being a teacher doesn't always have the best perks in the world. Like, other jobs, we don't get massive bonuses and things like that.
Bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
So Teacher Appreciation Week always happens right around
in May.
First week in May.
I think it's the first week in May.
And so this
second.
year, we're lucky enough to live in a small little town that has a facility that does scalar energy treatments. And so they offered that to us as a free session for a Teacher Appreciation Week this year.
Yeah, because Teacher Appreciation Week, they'll, local businesses will send us coupons for freebies or, a free milkshake or something like that. It's very, very minimal. What's really sucky though? Those darn elementary school teachers get gift cards.
You need to calm down there, Cletus.
I mean, hundreds of dollars in gift cards sometimes.
Yes, I know, because Charlotte gets them. But to be fair, elementary school teachers only teach 25 to 30 kids, and there's only one teacher parents have to worry about, not 8.
Still.
Just saying.
I'd take a $5 Sonic gift card. Just saying.
So, again, back on topic. We were given a gift card this year, a certificate, basically, a free session, 2-hour session at an energy rejuvenation facility. And I want to say facility. I don't want to say place, but it technically is that.
Yeah.
And so, getting the brochure, I think the first time I looked at the brochure, there was a lot of writing trying to explain what it was. And the only thing that really caught my eye was that it was a 2-hour session worth $110. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and spend it because
my motto always is, if it's free, it's for me.
I'm not going to pass up $110. Now, if it was a $10 gift certificate somewhere, I would pass that up, but not $110. So we went ahead and booked our 2-hour sessions and not knowing what to expect exactly. So we really need to kind of let you know that, again, walking in to this conversation, we are nowhere near experts on this. I did not even know scalar energy was a thing until...
We're not experts on anything that we talk about here. Let's be
well. I mean, I didn't know what scalar energy was until I read this brochure. So,
and I have to say, like, I'm really kind of impressed that you brought this to, because I'm one of those people who, we get the emails and stuff, and I glance at them, and then I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't need a 5% off of whatever. So I had forgotten that we even got this, and Michael actually brought it to my attention when he said that he was booking a session, and that caused me to reinvestigate the initial brochure and see what all it was about. But the reason why it really impresses me that you brought this to my attention is because you're typically the much more skeptical of the two of us when it comes to things like things approaching the metaphysical realm. I'm more open-minded to that sort of thing, but you're, Mr. Wizard over there who's like, give me the data, give me the science, give me the facts.
Then I'm also that way still. I will tell you I'm still a little skeptical on this, but I mean, no harm, no foul. It didn't hurt to go
Yeah.
experience it and see what it was all about.
So in other words, if it were acupuncture, you might not have taken it up.
No, I'll try anything once.
All right. So if there are any acupuncturists out there, keep that in mind for next year's Teacher Appreciation Week.
Hey, look, I'll try it.
Hey, yeah, I wouldn't heartbeat. Anyway, so that it surprised me that you were, open to this. But again, like you said, no harm, no foul, and if it's free, it's for me.
Hey, look, it's summertime. You know what? I mean, what else do I have to do with my time?
Right.
So I wasn't competing with anything.
So when we started looking into this, they use this machinery, you would call it, they call it the EE system, the Energy Enhancement System, and this is according to their website, that generates multiple bioactive life-enhancing energy fields, including scalar energy, which can allow cell regeneration, improve immune function, provide relief from pain, detoxify the body, elevate moods, and assist in balancing right and left hemispheres of the brain to increase energy levels. I mean, it sounds like a good idea to me.
It sounds like a bunch of hooey to me.
Well, granted, but like you said, worth exploring, right?
Yeah. Well, so let's just talk really fast. Your body's run on electricity to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Your cells generate an electrical charge on them. So the energy aspect of it is viable.
However, did you notice that it says that scalar energy, it's not actually part of the electromagnetic spectrum and it doesn't actually produce waves?
Yeah. It doesn't look at what a typical wave would look at. It's actually going to look at magnitude as opposed to
wavelength.
Yes.
And I don't remember the difference between, I remember what wavelength is, but I don't remember what magnitude is.
Magnitude, wavelength is how far away from each wave peak it is. Magnitude is the height and the deficit of the wave, the up and down of the wave, not the length.
Okay. So yeah, if it's not producing waves, it would make sense that there are no waves. Well, good. That explains one thing, because I was like, well, if it doesn't produce waves, then how does it travel or move or whatever?
So there's a lot of stuff on a scalar field. This is definitely diving into the mathematical and physical world.
Well, yeah, the concept of scalar energy, and technically it is just theoretical, right? Like, has it been proven that scalar energy
I don't think
exists?
So.
I didn't think so. But so it comes from the world of quantum physics, right?
Correct.
Which is one of my personal areas of fascination that I do not understand, but I will talk about for hours on end just because it's so cool.
So let's look at scalar field itself. So looking at this, the scalar field has additional units of measurements associated with it than what would normally be found in the mathematical and science world. It's discussed that should be independent of the coordinate system. So there should not be an X and a Y, or there should not be a coordinate system or a coordinate point attached to it. To me, it's hard to understand because it is so new to me.
Yeah.
There is a whole different definition to it that goes beyond what I want to go into it as far as mathematically. There's a formula of the scalar field. We're not going to jump on there.
Yeah.
It's just hard to describe.
Yeah. It seems very mind-boggling.
My brain's not big enough to hold all the information that comes out of this. I don't think of the world like this. So anyway, back to energy though. So the body does operate on energy. So the whole point of the scalar energy field is that you're going to use these energy waves or these energy outputs to recharge your cells. And I'm assuming just from glancing over their website that, a healthy cell would have a normal charge, a certain kind of degree of, they called it microvolts.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a certain microvoltage of your cells for normal cells or healthy cells, and then unhealthy cells have a lower microvoltage. And so the whole thing is that you're bringing those unhealthy cells energy levels to the healthier cell energy level. And so that's where they come in and say that they're going to recharge your cells, which, again, when I read that, I was kind of like, this is kind of some mumbo jumbo, but it is what it is. So with that said, that it is going to increase the overall body's energy level and help increase cellular energy by recharging your cells. The whole point of this is to offer a protective shield around the body and kind of spearhead off any harmful effects of any man-made frequencies like radio frequency. Well, I guess the radio frequencies aren't man-made, but stuff that we use, microwaves, radio waves,
Any kind of radiation that bombards
correct,
the body.
that is not really harmful in the dosage that we get it, but that's we're exposed to on an everyday basis. And so that these scalar energy waves are supposed to kind of generate a protective energy field around the body, and using the body's energy to generate that wave. And it looks like a protective shell around the body.
Right.
That magnetic field, or the scalar energy field around the body that will kind of steer off any of those other ones.
Yeah. When I first heard about it, it reminded me of like the practice of Reiki, which is even more out there and hippy dippy, as you would say, than this was, because it's about Reiki is about balancing the body's energy from one person to another. So you have, instead of a machine doing this for you, you have a person who is a Reiki healer or Reiki master who essentially hovers their hands over you and conveys their energy into your energy field to kind of bring it back into balance. I actually had a Reiki session once and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of similar to this in that, it was very relaxing, and I did genuinely feel, better afterwards. So why don't we talk about our experiences with this? First, let's describe what it was like, what this thing looks like. So you go into this dark room that has a bunch of recliners and cots in it. And even one double bed at the center of one wall that looked kind of weird. It almost reminded me of something out of like the Da Vinci Code, where they're doing some sort of like sex ritual or something.
Well, this facility offers overnight stays.
Yeah.
So the bed, I'm assuming, is for an overnight stay, because you definitely did not want to sleep in a
reclining
chair, a zero gravity chair, or a sleeping cot for the entire night. So I'm assuming that the bed is just reserved for that purpose.
Yeah, it is. It was just still very bizarre to kind of see that like at this central point of focus in a room surrounded by other cots and chairs.
So on the room itself, the inner perimeter of the room, I guess, is where all the cots and the different chairs and different sleeping options are. And then in each of the four corners of the room, there were 3 monitors, color monitors, that were emitting different colored, I don't want to say gibberish, but
it looked like, quite honestly, what it made me think of, it looked like a multicolored version of The Matrix, in the movie where it's got all the green characters scrolling down. It reminded me of that, but just in multicolor.
I was waiting for the poltergeist to come and get me, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it kind of resembled TV static too.
Yeah. So,
but what I noticed, did you notice this? Like they were all scrolling at different speeds.
Yes.
And then they would change speed.
And direction also.
Yeah. So I don't know how, because they said, you don't have to keep your eyes open. You don't have to look at it or anything like that. In fact, they kind of advertise it as, one of the best naps you'll ever take, which was a good nap. But so I don't understand exactly how it works through that. There was again, the room was dark. So on these monitors were mounted to a tower, and on the inner workings of the tower, there was other machinery, but you couldn't really see what it was because of the darkened room.
So being asleep, you have to think, and they do provide blankets for you. So you're like, okay, so how is this stuff even going to hit me? I think part of it is the television sets were emitting the waves in from the 4 corners, thereby kind of centering right in the middle and creating a, for lack of a better term, an energy bubble around the room. And so I think when you're in that bubble, it is rejuvenate or recharging your cells supposedly to it. So, when I was the first one to go in, so I was lucky enough to not be in a room with anyone else. No one else was there at the time that I went. And I will say, if you're going to try this out, go, and I told Brandon this, I said, go when you are ready to take a nap, because I fought that. Mine was at 12 noon, and I'm not usually tired around noon. So I had to really kind of focus on falling asleep. So go in there, and basically you're not allowed to have your shoes on, which I guess you're supposed to be grounded. I don't know exactly what the shoes do to you, but you don't take your shoes in the room at all.
I was honestly, I think it might be just so that they don't squeak and make noise.
Well, that's possible.
I was trying to figure that out too, because I was like, you don't have to have your feet on the ground. So it's not about grounding. It's, and I was thinking about, because when the other lady that was in the room with me finally left at the end, because we didn't start at the same time, I didn't even realize when she had left. And I was like, oh, maybe that's why there are no shoes.
So you take your shoes off, you go into the room, you pick they have zero grav chairs or cots to lay in. And it's a preference, whatever is open, you can pick. They don't.
Did you do a chair or a cot?
I did a cot.
Oh, okay. I did a chair.
I did a cot. And so
I was also still getting over that sinus infection. So I didn't want to lay down and
well, you lay down again. I did take my phone in. She did recommend take my phone in, but I had to put it on airplane mode. And I took my phone in just so I had a timer.
Yeah, I had to use the timer on my watch
to wake me up, because they basically leave you alone,
Yeah, that surprised me when I walked out and nobody else was in the facility, like even in the outer area.
But to have someone just sit there and wait would be pointless.
Yeah, it was just it just struck me, because I was like, okay, am I supposed to lock up? Like,
no, because the room is magnetically locked.
Yeah, so no, I know, but I mean that's just what was going through my head.
So I laid down and just again set my phone on the floor, and there's actually on the cots there's little bags you can put your phone in and your personal belongings in if you want to, that are attached to the side of the cot. I just put it on the floor and just went to sleep. And I want to say I probably woke up around an hour and a half into it. And at that point, I was kind of like, okay, I'm done. I was just like, I have other things to do. So I didn't really have time to go the whole 2 hours. And, the world came back alive to me when I stepped out. So that was my experience. So the aftermaths of that, though, you're supposed to detox after. They do offer a detox bag, which has clay, thyme, and
a variety of different
ginger, and there's salts and stuff like that. And, and they sell it $15. And it's not a bad deal considering it's a huge bag of detox.
But you have to sit in a tub with it for 45 minutes.
So I still haven't detoxed. My body still probably isn't still holding on to all this energy.
Yeah, me
bad
too.
Energy. Anyway, so I felt like nothing really was worth it. But I will say I have dreams, but I don't remember my dreams. And so that night I had my first dream remembrance, like to the point where I remembered my dreams about my aunt who had passed away in 2017. And so it was it was a graphic dream. Like I remember it very well. And it's not one that happens very often. So when I talked to my aunt, who probably believes all this stuff, she believes in the metaphysical and all that realms and stuff like that. And she told me that
you mean your other aunt, not your dead aunt?
Yeah.
Let's clarify.
She told me that it was probably a visitation, and she, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. But for the past week, though, and again, it's been a week since I did this, I've been remembering my dreams every single night.
Oh, wow, really?
So I'm assuming that means that my sleep is deeper than it would be normally. But again, I'm also on summer, so I don't have a lot on my mind right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the case, if that's a reason why. So we'll see if it wears off over time.
Yeah. But you'd also been on summer for, 3 or 4 weeks before this?
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So my experience with it, pretty much the same thing. I went in like, unlike Michael, I did have one other person that was in the room with me, which was a little uncomfortable.
Weird.
Yeah, it was just one lady. She was on the opposite corner from me. She was already asleep in a chair when I got there. Apparently she's a repeat customer, but I was just very aware of her presence in the room and looking around. There's probably close to 12 chairs and cots in the whole room. And I couldn't help but think, God, I could not imagine being in this room if all of these chairs and cots were filled.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't feel comfortable falling asleep in other people.
No.
In the presence of other people, because, bodily noises happen as you sleep. So.
Well, and quite frankly, I was very self-conscious and like, oh God, I hope I don't snore.
I'd be worried about the other thing.
But I that was one of my specific memories was like, oh God, and that was the other reason why I had to sit in a chair as opposed to a cot, because I knew if I laid on a cot, I would be more prone to snoring. The other issue, and they do specify specifically if you are doing an overnight stay with them, they do advise you to bring like all the comforts of home, like your own pillow or things like that. One thing that I really wish that I had with me, I have pretty bad carpal tunnel syndrome. And so at night I have to sleep with these wrist braces on. Otherwise my hands will fall asleep and they start to ache in the middle of the night and it wakes me up. So while I was in the chair trying to sleep, my hands started going numb. And I was like, gosh, I wish I had brought my wrist braces. But I started out, I was very, because I knew, we'd already discussed that we wanted to talk about this on the podcast. So I kind of approached it initially from a very journalistic standpoint. I was taking mental notes of everything that I saw and how the room was laid out, how the machines were laid out. And then after probably 5 to 10 minutes of that and really just sort of thinking analytically, I finally settled in and I started out with just meditating. I don't know how long I was meditating. I don't think it was that long. Eventually, I just naturally fell asleep. And the interesting thing for me is also dream related, but it was the fact that I dreamt while I was in the session. And it was a very unusual dream for me. Typically in my dreams, they're first person. Well, this was still first person, but typically in my dreams, I'm me. In this dream, I was very obviously not myself. I was somebody else. And that was very unusual for me. I can think of maybe one other time where I've had a dream that was like that. But, typically it's always me. And in the dream, I was the son of a woman who, and it was in an earlier time, like probably the 80s, maybe early 90s. It could have even been the 70s. I'm not really sure. But it was in an earlier time where, like local television programming would have afternoon kids shows, like, your local version of Captain Kangaroo or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the dream, my mother was the host of one of these shows. It had puppets and all this sort of stuff. And I had a brother in the dream. And he and I disagreed on how the show should proceed in the future. It was kind of like nearing the end of its life cycle, so to speak. And the show was probably going to be canceled or die out or whatnot because it wasn't as popular as it had been like back in the heyday. It was obvious to me that this was a woman, the host, who had been very popular at one time, but was no longer. And so my brother and I disagreed on how to proceed with the show going forward. And I don't remember who was on which side or what our two distinctive approaches were to it. But then she was dating a man who wasn't our father, that my brother in the dream, he didn't approve of this guy. And I think I was indifferent. And then the last thing that I remembered was I walked in on the man practicing a version of, I think it was called the frog dance, but it was something that, the woman had done on the show with the kids and whatnot, and he was doing it very obviously wrong. And so it was just very bizarre, but it was this whole story about this situation that I have no connection to, that I've never heard about before. And I wasn't myself. That was the biggest bizarre takeaway, was the fact that it wasn't me. Since then, I typically do remember a lot of my dreams. And since then, my dreams have been back to normal. I'm usually me in them. Nothing out of the ordinary there. But I will say I did feel very refreshed after the session. And I don't want to necessarily say energized per se, but I felt good.
To be fair, though, I do feel the same way after a massage.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard to say if we can pinpoint it for this one reason.
Yeah. But you felt refreshed as well, right? Or
yeah, because I just took a nap in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that said, again, we're not experts on it. We just want to kind of share our experience with it.
Well, and like everything else in the metaphysical realm, it's argued on both sides. I saw when I was reading up on Scalar Energy, there are apparently some places or some companies that sell Scalar Energy medallions or talismans that you wear around your neck. And apparently one, it looked like a government website from Australia, was warning people not to actually wear them because they said that they were emitting radioactive radiation. Is that redundant? Radioactive radiation. Anyway, but it specified they were emitting alpha, beta, and gamma waves. So I was like, oh, well, that doesn't sound very good. So I don't know if we got, totally irradiated while we were there or what. Maybe that's why.
To be fair, you're irradiated every day.
Well, this is true.
You're talking to your cell phone right next to your ear. So.
Exactly. But yeah, it's still, I still found it, an interesting and, like you said, it's not like we had anything better to do. We weren't wasting any time by doing it. So what would you, would you do it again?
If it was free, yeah.
Yeah. I don't, because it was kind of expensive. Well, I say it was kind of expensive. It was probably comparable to like a massage. I think it was like $60 for an hour session, and 2 hours was $110.
I guess, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Really.
So it probably is comparable to a massage in price. If I had to pick, though, I think I probably would go with the massage. But no, I think metaphysical things like that can...
Holistic medicine.
There we go. Thank you. Holistic medicine. But no, holistic medicine has always kind of been controversial and debated. So I think this is just another thing that falls into that category. It's like everything else, with the Reiki healing that I tried. That's something that I would definitely like to try again. But it's something that, hey, if it works for you, then great. No harm, no foul.
Yep.
All right. So you ready for the trivia segment?
Yes.
Okay. So today, I forgot I had this actually. I used to use this when I would do team trivia review sessions with my students. But today we have the Ultimate Trivial Pursuit question and answer book. And so what it is, it's literally just it's like a almost 900 page book that is nothing but Trivial Pursuit questions. And so each page has 6 questions listed on it, and the book is divided by the Trivial Pursuit category. So I figured what we could do is each of us can just select a page. Yeah, select a category, and then the other person will select a page from the category and go down the list.
Okay.
So your categories to choose from are geography, entertainment, history, arts and literature, science and nature, or sports and leisure.
Let's do science and nature just for S and G's.
As if I couldn't have predicted that. All right. So I've gone to a random page here. All right. So, and forgive me, I'm going to have to flip back and forth between pages because the answers are on the back. What collective term describes 2-methylphenol and 4-methylphenol smelly chemicals found in sweat?
Can you repeat the question?
What collective term describes 2 and is written 2-methylphenol and 4-methylphenol, smelly chemicals found in sweat?
Are they alcohols?
No, it was odorants.
Okay.
All right, number 2. What is a dromophobiac afraid to cross?
A state line?
That's a good guess. A street.
Well, here in this town,
I was about to say, so if you're on state line, then yeah. What is a computer's CPU?
The central processing unit?
Yes. Number 4, where on a fish's body are the growth rings scientists use to determine age?
I think they're in the tail.
The ears. Number 5, what bird gave its name to the lunar module that took Neil Armstrong to the surface of the moon?
The eagle?
Yes. Number 6, what never works at night and requires a gnomon to tell the time? GNOMON. Oh, okay. It's kind of a riddle, really. What never works at night and requires a gnomon to tell the time?
The sun?
Oh, you're so close. What do you tell time with the sun?
No, a sundial.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's do history.
Okay. Question 1. What name was given to the leather protection cowboys wore over the front of their pants?
Chaps.
Number 2. How old was Clara Barton when she founded the American Red Cross?
Ooh, God, that's hard. 21.
No. She was 60.
Oh, wow.
Number 3. Oh, and you would know that if you watched The Gilded Age.
I did watch The Gilded Age. Oh, that's right. I forgot that she was in.
Clara Barton was in one of those episodes.
Yeah.
They were starting the American Red Cross in the episodes.
Yeah.
Season 2. Number 3. Where can you find the Great Serpent Mound? I should say what state? What state can you find the Great Serpent Mound?
Arizona?
Nope. Ohio.
Oh.
Number 4. What happened to the firefighters who responded to the first alarm of the Great Chicago Fire?
What happened to them? They burned?
They're the first firefighters who responded to the first alarm of the Great Chicago Fire. If it was great, was it big?
Yeah.
They were the first ones to respond, and it was only a 1-alarm fire at that point.
Oh, what happened to them?
Yeah.
They put it out? They went home?
They were sent to the wrong address.
Oh, that sucks.
Okay, number 5, this one's easy. How many funnels did the Titanic have?
4.
Okay.
Was that right?
3 working ones. There was also a false one.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Okay, number 6. What was James the First of England's Scottish title?
James the 6th?
Yep.
Yay.
How do you know that?
I love history. My mom was a history teacher. I had to know things.
Anyway.
I think we pretty closely tied on that one, didn't we?
I don't know. Who's keeping score? It's just for funsies.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's another episode of From Art to Atoms,
the Ultimate Curiosity Show.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week with another.
Bye. You've been listening to From Art to Atoms, the Ultimate Curiosity Show, episode number 3. Your hosts are Brandon Shoemaker and myself, Michael Fulse. The show is produced by Brandon Shoemaker and is available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to stay up to date on all of our latest episodes and news. If you have any questions, feedback, or suggested topics you'd like us to dive into, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email us at FromArtToAtoms@gmail.com. We would love to hear from our listeners, and we value your input. Don't forget to follow us on social media and stay up to date on upcoming episodes and behind-the-scene content. You can follow us on Instagram at FromArtToAtoms. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platforms. Your support helps us reach even more interested minds like yours. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, stay curious.